What is poppin', y'all? Welcome back to another YouTube video, and today we're taking a look at another film review. Today we're taking a look at Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I recently reviewed number 3 back of December last year, and I also reviewed number 1 when I first started getting into film reviews, like a couple of years ago now, and for whatever reason I just skipped out on number 2. So in my sort of look back over the MCU, going over the movies which I missed out on, I thought what better one to sort of lift my spirits after the abysmal sort of couple of movies that we've taken a look at from the MCU, and sort of go into what made me fall in love with the MCU in the first place. When the first Guardians of the Galaxy and the first Ant-Man came out in 2013, 2014, 2015, respectively, that is when I fell in love with the MCU, through Ant-Man and the Guardians of the Galaxy. I genuinely didn't care about Iron Man, Hulk, Hawkeye, Black Widow, didn't give a shit about any of them. I cared about the big guns, the Ant-Man, and the Guardians. They are my sort of introduction to the MCU, and what I really cared about and started deep diving into this universe, because before then, I was a DC fanboy that loved DC and hated Marvel because I thought Marvel was stupid. Boy, was I wrong. So, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 is a 2017 action sci-fi, which is 2 hours and 17 minutes. It has a 7.6 out of 10 on IMDb and an 85% Rotten Tomatoes. You can watch this on YouTube, Google Play, Amazon Prime, or Disney+. After a successful mission, Quill and his team of galactic defenders meet Ego, a man claiming to be Quill's father. However, they soon learn some disturbing truths about Ego. So, how this story actually goes is they're fighting a monster while Baby Groot is doing like a fucking boogie down. He's breaking it down. He's sort of throwing some moves. Whilst they're all fighting in the background, they defeat the monster. Rocket steals some Arbulax batteries, and you know, they get chased by these golden people, the golden ladies, the golden girls. And, you know, they manage to escape, but they crash land on a planet, and this is where the crew splits up, because Ego saves them, and Ego, you know, takes Quill, Gamora, Drax on a mission, leaving Baby Groot and Rocket to fend for themselves, fixing the Milano, because Rocket and Quill have an argument about being trash pandas and how they should steal stuff. Fair enough. So these guys go to Ego, the living planet, and they sort of filled with awe and wonder and excitement as they uncover this new land. And then Rocket gets attacked by the Ravagers, and the Ravagers capture them and throw Yondu into the cage as well. So that sends the plot into spiking sort of things. So we'll come back to Star-Lord, because their story pretty much grinds to a halt, because it goes really slow from that point on. So continuing with Rocket's story, which I think is the cooler one, he fights alongside Yondu to kill all the Ravagers and escape the ship. They then end up on Ego's planet to save Quill, because Yondu has information that Quill doesn't. And as Yondu is explaining this information to Rocket, Quill is finding it out for himself. They then run in, smash down on the planet, and get ready to fight all these fuckers. They try and fight a planet, and it is up to Groot to push the right button at the right time, otherwise they'll all die. And he does. He successfully pushes the button to make sure they don't all die, and they all fly away and they all escape, except for Yondu, because he turns into Mary Poppins and he gets killed in space. Because after the first movie, you would expect people to wear their masks more often, or at least pack a spare. And that's pretty much a quick rundown of the story. CGI-wise, it is fucking beautiful. This Ego planet is beautiful. Seeing them fight inside the planet is fucking incredible. That battle sequence is like no other. That battle sequence gave me goosebumps. This movie is action-packed. It is also very funny. It reaches comedy. It has payoffs. It has sort of plot points which get resolved and have their payoffs. We have each little bit meaning something. Every little bit in this movie means something. The jokes are funny, they land, the actors are perfect, they manage to have this very quippy, very natural flow to it, because comedies are extremely hard to write. Comedies are some of the hardest sort of things to write in movies, and with nowadays Marvel, it seems really shit. The comedy isn't there in recent Marvel movies. It seems very basic and very sort of, you know, very safe. That's what recent Marvel movies are doing. But the Guardians, that didn't really feel safe. That felt natural. That felt good. The actors had a real good chemistry together that made it feel natural, that made it feel good. And this movie does start Drax's descent to being nothing more than just a stupid muscle head. He wasn't... I feel like Drax got more stupid as it went on. I feel like he was best in the first movie, and he just went really downhill after that. I don't know, I feel like they turned him really, really stupid for no apparent reason. I just feel like he got dumber and dumber and dumber as the movies went on. And I don't like that. I don't like that. I feel like this was like a sort of downward descent on Drax's behalf, but it definitely expanded on the Guardian story as a whole. This movie wasn't just to throw in like another Guardians movie to sort of fill out the MCU timeline and throw in another like Infinity Stone here or there. It actually was good and had a continuation to it, had sort of development for the characters, had more information about Quill's mother and father, which sort of help him into growing closer to Gamora and having that sort of more solid love relationship, which they sort of started off with the first movie. We have Groot regrowing and having that story continue from the last movie, with him growing from that plant, and now he's a baby, and he's adorable, and he's there just to be the merch seller, not gonna lie. He was Disney's moneymaker for this movie. I remember when this movie first came out and I saw Baby Groot everywhere. Everyone was talking about Baby Groot, and I'm not gonna lie, I have 3 fucking buildable Baby Groots at this point in time. I have potted Baby Groot, I have venomized Baby Groot, and I have normal Baby Groot as buildable Lego figures. So it fucking worked. It fucking worked. They are milking this bad boy for all he's worth. This tree, this lovable log, they're milking him for all he's fucking worth, and they're succeeding as well. Because I even have a pop vinyl of Baby Groot. I can fucking see it from where I stand. Also, it continued the trend of having the colour scheme of characters that do die in this one. We had the colour scheme of a sort of greyish brown in the third one for Rocket's death. We had a sort of dark woodish brown in the first one for Groot's death. And in the second one we had a bluish colour with a reddish undertone for Yondu's death. Which didn't make me cry, but made my nana absolutely bawl her eyes out. Just thought I'd throw that information here, because, yeah, I didn't cry at Yondu's death. I wasn't a huge fan of Yondu anyway, so his death didn't really have an effect on me, but he was the one that died nonetheless. Acting, again, like I said, these characters, these actors bounce really well off each other. They have like a really good chemistry on the scene and off screen. If you watch some of like the behind the scenes footage or some of the pictures or sort of tags that they write, they all have like a good chemistry. They all have like a good laugh together, and that's good. That's important when on the set of the film, because it adds to the film a whole lot more than you could ever know. Having crew that hate each other shows on the screen. Having crew that don't like each other and argue all the time, that shows in your movie. And it definitely shows in the Fast and the Furious movies with Dom Toretto and Vin Diesel and The Rock. It definitely shows with them. But here, you can tell everyone gets on. It has a really good vibe, a really good atmosphere. This is a feel-good movie. And the bad guy has some really solid twists, some really solid turns which you don't expect, and the camera angle and the camera work shows that. The music goes really well. The fucking soundtrack, the Awesome Mix Vol 2 is a fucking banger, and the music that they use for certain scenes, especially when like Quill is finding out that Ego killed his mum, the slow zoom on the face, the sort of like angry expression or like the monotone expression he has, all fucking works. It is a 10 out of 10 and I love this movie.